Welcome back to another video. This one's going to be a little bit different. It will be mostly a review of Thermalmaster's P3 thermal camera, although I'll also talk about thermal imaging in general and give a few tips about this topic. But why are thermal cameras useful in electronics anyway though? Well, suppose you have a small converter, for example this one that I built a few videos ago, and looking at the efficiency you can see that it's kind of terrible, and you start wondering what the reason might be. Well, it's true that you could figure it out on your own, although if you have a thermal camera you can just look at it quickly and immediately find the problem. In this case, you can notice that a winding on the inductor is actually shorted, so it's heating up a lot. This steals power from the converter and lowers efficiency. Another example might be the circuit that happens to be an amplifier, and when we turn it on, you can see that it's not really working, and it's drawing more current than we'd expect it to. It's true that you could start probing around and probably find the problem, but with the thermal camera you can just take a look and notice that this voltage regulator is overheating, so finding the problem is actually that simple in this case. So back to the Thermalmaster P3, all you have to do with this camera is install the app on your phone and you're just ready to connect it through the USB port. The nice thing is that it doesn't have any internal batteries, it just uses your phone to get powered, so it's one less thing to think about. There's a handy adapter in case you have an iPhone with a lightning connector, as well as an extension cord if you want to connect it to your computer. There's also a very nice compact case to carry it in, so whenever you need to take it around with you can just stick it in your pocket. But enough talking, let's actually test it out and make some thermal measurements. For example, let's take a look at this Raspberry Pi, and more specifically the processor. You might notice kind of quickly that it looks very cold, but then if I pass my hand kind of behind the Raspberry Pi, it changes color and temperature. This obviously can't be the case. It's not like waving my hand will change the temperature of things. So this is a first demonstration that shiny metal actually reflects infrared a lot more than it gives off. So this is an important reminder that when we're measuring the temperature of shiny metal objects, we're going to have to find a way to make the surface actually not a metallic shiny finish. The best way is to just attach a piece of tape on there. Unfortunately, of the few videos that I checked, no one talked about this issue, and that's too bad because it's a very important thing when we're making these kinds of measurements. After attaching this piece of tape, you can see that the measurement is very stable. Even when I'm rotating it, you can see that the part around that isn't covered by the tape is reflecting all the different temperatures of the objects around it, but the part in the middle is giving a reliable measurement. So now that that's taken care of, let's actually turn on the Raspberry Pi and see what happens if we start making it do some work. Now that it's on, I'll run a script that should make it work at 100% capacity of its processor. And you can see that in fact it is starting to heat up quite a bit. I'm pretty sure it has a temperature limitation in the sense that once it reaches a threshold temperature, it starts holding back on the amount of power that it gives it. In fact, at this point it kind of stays stable. As soon as I quit the process on it, you can see that it will start cooling off a little bit. Now let's take a look at the different functions that are available in the app to make various measurements in different ways. To start off, you can place a point that you want to take the temperature of. For example, here I'm taking the temperature of the core of the inductor. Then you can also draw some different shapes like a rectangle or a circle, and it will give you the minimum and maximum temperature within that shape's area. For example, here I'm outlining the two transistors, and the maximum temperature is from one of the two transistors, the one on the back, while the minimum temperature is just going to be the background in this case. You can also change the contrast and the brightness of the image, although I generally just like leaving them both at 50%. You can also overlap the video coming from the regular camera on your phone. Of course, it's going to be filming two slightly different things because the P3 is pretty far away from the actual camera of the phone, but it's very useful if you want to take a picture of something that's a bit farther away. Then it has quite a few different color schemes that you can choose from. I have to say, in general, I think I like the default one the best, although there's a few that I kind of like as well. I think lava is one of the ones I kind of appreciate more. Also, the white hot is relatively intuitive in my opinion, so it's not bad. An important thing to notice is that there's two different temperature ranges, the -20 to 150 Celsius and the 150 to 600 Celsius. But let's try measuring something a little bit different now. For example, regular glass we think of being transparent because that's the way we see it. Although in the infrared spectrum, this is kind of different. Here I have a piece of regular glass. Now right away you can see that it doesn't appear to be showing whatever's behind it. It just has its own temperature when we're looking at it with a thermal camera. Now I can try looking at a lighter flame that's behind the glass. And you can see that it is partly visible, but only the center appears to be visible. Although I'm not sure of this, I think it's because the center of the flame is the hottest, and this frequency of light can actually kind of pass through the glass. Although for the lower temperatures, the wavelength is longer and actually gets completely blocked. So this is another thing to keep in mind. If you want to measure the temperature of something, it better not be behind a window because you won't be measuring it for sure. As a last test, you can see here I'm looking at the 7-segment display on my power supply, and with the normal camera on my phone you can perfectly see what it's reading. Although with the thermal camera you can understand why the LEDs are so efficient. In fact, it's not giving off any infrared light like a incandescent light bulb would. Alright, so if you're interested, check out the description. There's discount codes as well, and all the necessary links if you want to check out the Thermalmaster website. They have quite a few different cameras and different types of them as well. So if you're interested in a tool like this, I really do recommend it because it can be very useful when working with electronics, especially for debugging certain problems. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.